Question 9. This question was a question on circles and triangles, etc., etc. So reading the question, it says the diagram with a circle with centre 0 and radius r. The points P and Q are on the circle such that POQ is 0.9 radians. So I'm going to add that in straight away. So that's 0.9 radians. So that means I need to go and make sure my calculator's in radians. So I press mode and, no, I don't, I press shift in mode and then 4 to make sure I'm in radians mode. It says the tangent to the circle at P. Now this uses all the stuff we've just used in question 8. So if that's a radius meeting a tangent, that must be 90 degrees. Now that is where a lot of people went wrong. That's a basic piece of knowledge from circle theorems in GCSE. Do not miss sentences like that. It's telling you how to do the whole question. It says find an expression in terms of R for the area of the sector POQ. So for 9A part 1. In terms of the area of the sector, normally it would be pi r squared, but that would do the entire circle. I don't want the entire circle. I want theta over 2 pi. That's the same as saying theta out of 360, but because we're working in radians, 360 degrees is equivalent to 2 pi. Now you can see here, the pi's there are going to cancel, and theta, I know, is 0.9. So I'm going to have 0.9 over 2 r squared, which is equal to 0.45 r squared. Okay, first bit done. Second bit, the length of PS. So looking at that triangle there, it wants me to know this length here. Now I already know one side is r, I already know this side is 0.9, or this angle is 0.9. So I know an angle on the side, I want to know the side. That means use SOHCAHTOA. Okay, so SOHCAHTOA, and if I go and label that triangle now, this is my hypotenuse, this is my opposite, and this is my adjacent. I know the adjacent, I want to find the opposite, so I'm using TOA. So that would be tan theta is equal to the opposite over the adjacent. So in our case, it's going to be tan 0.9 is equal to the opposite. In fact, let's call that PS because that's what it is in the question, over adjacent, which is r. So then I'd take the r over to the other side and get r tan theta is equal to PS. And that answer would be fine. If you wanted to, you could go and work out what tan 0.9 is in radians, but it works out to being a pretty rank number. I'd leave it as that because I think it's neater, but that would still be correct as long as you wrote the whole answer. And then finally, for part 3 of A, it says the area of the triangle POS. So the triangle of POS is that triangle there. Now that's a right angle triangle. This is a piece of maths that year 7 should be able to tell me. The area of a triangle is base times height divided by 2. So area equals base times height divided by 2. The base is PS, which we've just worked out as being r tan 0.9, so maybe now year 7 couldn't do it, times by the height, which is the radius, so times by r, all divided by 2. So that would be r times r would be r squared, tan 0.9, all over 2. Okay, and that is how we got the first 3 marks, 1 mark for each of those final statements. For part B, it says, given that the shaded area is 95.22, find the value of r. So if we look at the shaded area, how do I get it? Well, I get it by working out the area of this triangle, but I don't want the area of this white bit here, which is the sector. So I'm going to set up a formula here. I'm going to say area shaded would equal area triangle minus area sector. Now, area shaded, I'm told, is 95.22. Area of the triangle, I've just worked out, is literally this answer here. R squared, tan 0.9 all over 2. Subtract the area of the sector, that's the very first thing I did up here. That's 0.45 r squared. So minus 0.45 r squared. I'm now going to work out what the coefficient of that r squared is going to be. So I'm putting it into my calculator. Tan 0.9 over 2 minus 0.45 r squared. I'm ignoring the r squared, so I'm only interested in the coefficients, and that gives me this answer here. It gives me 0.1800 blah 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 r squared. I'm not going to write out the whole thing. I'm then going to take that over to the other side, and I'm going to divide by it. So I'm going to say 0.18 blah 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 is equal to r squared. So I'm going to put into my calculator 95.22 over ants, and it gives me 528.76 blah 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 r squared, and I'm still not rounding because I want to find out what r is, not r squared. So I'm now square root that number, so 523.76 blah 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 would be equal to r. So square root ants is equal to 22.9949. That's filling me with confidence, and I'm going to say it's equal to 23 centimeters in brackets to 0 dp, I suppose. Okay, and that was my final answer and the end of the paper.